My name's Ed, and welcome to the first official episode of Fire It Up. Today we're going to be cooking dragon chicken. This is my own special concoction made up of chicken, ginger, crushed red peppers, and garlic, along with a little bit of soy sauce. So let's get to it. First, there are the ingredients. As you notice, there's not a whole lot to it. You just need the chicken, the powdered Chinese ginger, soy sauce, I prefer Kikkoman's, and the crushed Chinese red pepper with garlic, which you can usually find in the Asian food section of your grocery store. The choice of which cut of chicken to use is pretty much up to you. I, however, recommend removing the skin, as taking it off also improves the health of the dish, not to mention makes it a lot easier to cook. Here I have a cut up chicken leg quarter that I had left over from the barbecue. This will work fine. The first thing you'll want to do is take the chicken and cook it most of the way through. In the process of cooking, most chicken cuts that I've come across tend to lose a lot of water. So if you put any spices in at this point, it will dilute them and really ruin the flavor and consistency of the dish. Let's go. I'm using a 2.5 quart non-stick covered saucepan. It's fairly important to use a covered saucepan as that improves the cooking of the chicken. Turn the heat up to about medium-low and let it start cooking. After about 20 minutes, you'll want to turn the chicken over to ensure that it cooks thoroughly through on both sides. The last thing you want is undercooked chicken. Notice how some of the water is already cooking out of the chicken meat. This is the reason we pre-cook the chicken before we add the spices. Okay, it's been about half an hour since we started the chicken cooking. The best way to determine if the chicken is done is to use a meat thermometer and make sure that the internal temperature of the chicken is at least 140 degrees. This is what a meat thermometer looks like. Let's check the chicken and see if it's done. Always put the meat thermometer into the thickest part of the chicken. $160. It's plenty done. So the first thing we need to do is to drain the excess water out of the pan so that we can put the spices in. At the same time, we turn the heat down to just above low. A quick trip to the sink and we'll be right back. Ah yes, all the water is drained out of the chicken. Now we can get to the real fun part of this. The first thing we'll want to do is to put in the soy sauce. We don't need a whole lot, just enough to generally cover all the chicken meat. This also provides a nice base for us to dust on the ground ginger. I use 100% organic Chinese ginger. The ginger has a very faintly sweet flavor, which will make a very good contrast with the crushed red chili and garlic. Just sprinkle a bit on, enough to lightly cover the meat. Then turn each piece of chicken over and repeat the soy sauce and ginger procedure. On the second side, you won't need so much soy sauce, but you'll want to make sure that the chicken meat is damp so the ginger stays. If you get places where the ginger clumps, which happens sometimes with ground ginger, use a fork to spread it out evenly across the chicken. Perfect. Now we let this simmer for about 10 minutes. This allows the soy sauce to cook into the chicken meat. Make sure that it's on almost a low temperature. You don't want the chicken to overcook. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. It's time to add the most important ingredient of all, the red chili and garlic sauce. The ginger smells wonderful. How much of the red chili you're going to want to add as a matter of taste, for myself, since I am a fire eater, I tend to add a fair amount. Now, these crushed red chilies aren't as hot as, say, a raw habanero or even a jalapeno, but they are plenty hot, so you're not going to have to worry about your food not having a decent kick. And they also have a very good flavor. They're not all fire with no taste. Just use a fork to spread it across the chicken meat as much as you'd like, or as little depending. This will need to cook for about another 5 minutes. We'll turn the heat up slightly. That will help the soy sauce cook down as well, which will produce a decent flavor and a nice sauce to pour over the chicken at the end of everything. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. Let's check the chicken and see how it's going. Oh, it's lovely. It smells incredible. Soy sauce seems to cook down a fair amount, and the chicken is thoroughly ready. Let's pull it out of the pot and put it on a plate. Yes. Just a quick second to turn the heat all the way up and cook the sauce down a little bit further. It's still a little bit too liquid. This is another good reason to use a non-stick pan. The sauce, as it cooks down at the end, is less likely to stick. You may want to whisk it lightly with a fork. As you can see, with the heat on high, as it doesn't take a whole lot of time for the sauce to cook down. And that is fine. Turn the heat off. Pour the sauce over the chicken. And I present to you Fire It Up Cooking's first dish, Dragon Chicken. Bon appetit!